All right, really quick, I wanted to talk about a couple of the newer items. The Burpsy's jackpot package comes with the weapons and the misc, and then the updated Grenwog pet. Um, we'll start off with the Burpsy's items. All right, so the weapon itself, I'm just going to use the staff. It's not very good. Basically, it's a 20 proc weapon. I don't know really um, why staff even bothers with these, um, unless there's some kind of um, feature about it that makes it worthwhile. Um, there's very few of them in the game at this point, and they didn't really do anything here. But basically, it'll inflict poison, and it's not even the siphon version. It's only 2.5 power for 4 rounds, so it's stretched pretty thin. Only 107 damage. That's versus 100% energy. And then it causes you, especially the magic version, causes you to lose up to 12 blocking. So I don't really understand the concept here. But it will continually grow on power because it's so far out in rounds. Um, you could use Elivones and stuff to maybe increase the power of it. Um, like from Dark Invader, there's some other options for energy. Might make it somewhat decent. We're up to 249. So, if you're using it for a lot of rounds, it could eventually grow in enough power to make it okay. We'll see what happens here with the Elevon here. Almost 300 now. I'm not really using an optimal armor here against this monster, but so the weapon is pretty much trash, I think. And then it also has kind of goofy art. But the misc, the gas bomb is pretty good. So it'll scale versus energy. So we got, let's see, now we have 110% energy. Let's go ahead and got locked out of my misc here, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so when you click it, you get two options. The laughing gas is the choke, and then the confusion gas is the control. The control has a negative 20 save. The laughing gas does too, but this is the first control status that has a very favorable save. Other options in the game, it's either favorable for the monster, it's 50-50. But it's a quick cast, so it's the same animation both times. So versus 110% energy, you get 4 rounds of, looks like it's 71% there. And it locks you out. You can't use it again. You can't quick cast and quick cast and quick cast and so on and so forth. And then it will stack here. So this is also going to be Dark Invader will now inflict choke based on the higher of energy and fire. So I just wanted to show off maybe some more stacking here. So we're down to 55, and then you can just continue here down to 382, down to 212. So these are some ways to continually use it. I have the energy jelly pet here. Or you come back with mandate and it'll spread out the turns. So it's possible to just continue doing it and doing it and doing it, and then you can just keep lowering the choke. It's not going to be as quick to get your choke down as maybe like a Mason form or something like that, but if you're using some of these methods to increase your SP regen, which is pretty easy to do nowadays with the beast build, as you can see, it's just pushing panic lower and lower. And then the energy jelly, because of the Elevon here, it's regenning my. So now I'm adding turns. So eventually you'll start getting it low enough, and then you'll start adding turns. And then essentially the monster is not going to be able to do anything to you. So again, it's just, you can perpetually stack it. So because it's a quick cast, it's like you're adding a choke to anything you're doing afterwards. So the misc, I think, might be worth for some people getting the package by itself, just because it's just so good. Like I said, adding a choke to any of, basically it's like adding a choke to any of your attacks. In a nutshell, it really kind of is. So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this monster real quick, and then we'll go to the next phase. Alright, so now we're gonna do the gas bomb, the control version. Obviously, control is a stun. I don't really think it should be a stun. Basically, it causes you to hit yourself. So why is it exactly a stun? The monster technically didn't skip its turn. It just was confused, and because it says confusion gas, that's what a control is. It causes it to hit itself. So it's not really a stun. I think staff should go in and recode it. So as you can see, it's basically the same animation, and then you have 2 rounds in this case, and a 61.19% chance for hitting itself instead of the opponent. That's not a stun in reality. And then it's harm damage, so it's very, very weak. It was only 90 damage, as you could see. And then again, you could perpetually do this. So now we're up to 91.79. And one of the things I wanted to show off here is the partnership with Book of Love. And since Book of Love has a control eat, so this love bomb is an efficient spell, and then it will eat up to 400% control. I've done some testing, and 400%, we're pretty close. It may eat the whole thing, it may leave just a little bit. We're really close to the neighborhood of 400%. We'll see what happens here. So yeah, it took the whole thing there, and then as you can see, it just did a lot of damage. So let's see what we can get here. Let's see if I can go ahead and maybe do this 3 times here. I'll just do this for now. Do this again. So now we're back at the 91%. I'll do it one more time, and then I'll eat the control. So a negative 20 save is basically like getting 20 points of potence, because it's affecting this. Once that roll of the dice happens between 0 and 100, or 1 and 100, or whatever it is, and then a negative 20 save would mean it would have to get above a 31. So on the roll, so it really helps. Let's see here. So now we are at 3 rounds at 71%. So let's go ahead and do this. It may kill it, but as you can see, it still had 6.79% control. So you can't really because it's a spell. can't remember. It might not actually be 400% in this case because it's an efficient spell. It might actually be up to 250%. I'll have to relook at the info subs, but nonetheless, eating the control does a lot of damage. Obviously, control, because it's a stun, it technically does not really. It doesn't work against freedom, so it's kind of pointless to use versus bosses. But it's an okay sort of thing. Alright, so what I'm going to do here real quick before I begin the next part is I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to Neko. Just because I think Elevon pets are extra, I guess you could say extra good with Neko. And then with some specific items, I'll go ahead and showcase it a little bit. I don't have the other variants in Neko, so this guy's not going to defend well versus Earth, but we'll see if we can panic it down here. Alright, so here's the pet. They added an Earth Elevon. The Earth Choke. It used to just be Elevon or normal mode. Someone mentioned on the forums that they should be updated because there's some free-to-play stuff that does the same thing. I don't know if staff planned this originally or saw the comment and said, that's a good idea. So kudos to staff either way for recognizing that it probably needed updated, whether they read the comment or planned on it in the first place. But I really feel like that they really need to, with these packages that they bring back around seasonal events and stuff like this, they really need to step back and take a look at it, and they need to do stuff like this to make the packages worth buying. If the item is similar to a free item, it's pointless to even have it as a package. You're getting the tokens, but people are buying that package probably for the item more so than the tokens these days. Maybe back in the beginning, in the early days, the tokens was a big deal, but I kind of think that that's not necessarily the case anymore. Now, okay, so let's go ahead and just showcase this pet. The only thing I don't like about it is the animation's a bit on the slow side. So let's see if we can get some celerity going here. Didn't this time. So the default mode looks like it's going to be choking, unless I had already had the choke mode before. I don't remember. But against 85% Earth, it's down to 686, so that's pretty strong. Let's see if we can get Earth changed there. Alright, so this time we got a celerity, so now we're going to go with 63. Now 26% on a celerity. That's pretty freaking good. Now it's only for that turn. Now I do not know if that choke will stay. It's like one of those zero turn effects that works with 0 turns. I don't know if this is one of those, but as you can see, so it must have missed some hits that time, so we're at the 44. I'm gonna go ahead and switch. So I guess this one is just the pure damage mode, nothing special. Yep, nothing special there. And then we'll go with, I think this is going to be the Elevol mode. So we've got 131% there, which should be the same or very close to like Protein Pet, and I think there's a couple other options for Earth. Now, if you had an Earth guest, and then you're using this guy, and then I don't know if you remember, but I used to one of my very first videos was just basically using Ancient Mother Staff. So it's going to do like a 5 and change Earth Elevon, which will stack with this guy. You could also actually summon the Warpower Bat Swarm guest and then swap your Subrace over to Neko, and then just don't change your guest. And that's an option too. Something that I'll do from time to time. But just as a note here, so we're up to 141%. If you have the Mother's Shield, that will actually increase with the Protean. I mean, with the weapon, it's a slight increase. And then, if you're able to do celerity, let's see if we can get some celerity here. Maybe go ahead and get some BTH here so we can land some hits. And with Elevons, the last turn will stack with this turn, so damage will increase. So in this case, we're up to 152. If all hits are landing, depending on the number of hits, you can actually push this up to 200%. This will get better whenever the BTH issues are resolved with the stat revamp in about 19,000 years, whenever they get to it. But so you could actually have basically 200%, and then as the guest is going, and then the pet, by the time the pet finishes, it's near 400% damage just for the pet. So you're able to really see huge damage, especially if you're using Optico anymore. But usually with this method, it's basically clever disguise spamming. But if you're able to do other ways to get celerity, like Havarti Blade, or you're paying for it with the shield cakes and stuff like that. And then you could go this route, and then it starts to become just stronger and stronger. Let's see here. Maybe we'll land some hits a little bit lower MRM here. Three of the four landed that time. So this time Earth is 184.5, plus we have the Elevon there. So just wanted to do this real quick before I end. Might end up killing the guy actually. I'll just do this, because the Elevon's starting to get pretty high there. So the pet, if you're going to notice, you're going to start seeing some pretty good damage here as it lands, because all these Elevons from last round are stacking with the previous with this round. So the animation on the Grenwog is a lot slower than the Protean pet. That's the one, I guess, issue I have with it. But given it the third mode makes it pretty strong, I think it makes it worth getting now. You can forego Protean pet, and now you have a Earth Elevon pet that you can just swap to choke with Earth. And I'll just show one more thing here. So if you've got Mandate, which I use a lot because of the chokes, so this guy's going to end up just adding to what you're building with your Mandate choking. You know, in addition, for those that have the Seekrat's Suffering armor that you can summon from the Plague Pick weapon, it has an SP skill that does a multi-round choke that scales with Earth also. And so that's another Earth-based choke that this guy can build on. So now we've got choke 5 rounds of 45%, and so on like that. So again, you could just keep going and going and going, and get your choke way down using Mandate with this. But those are some just little mini stacks that you can use. I kind of really believe if you're going to use an effect, stack it just like with weapon damage. just to make it more and more powerful. Just doing a random Elevuln or a random choke or a random anything usually isn't worth the effort unless you're going to go all out. Maybe some paralyzes and stuff like that, which aren't as popular anymore. I guess if you're stunned, you're stunned. So putting multiple stuns, yeah, that could work too. But if you just need a one-turn stun and you're cool with it, I guess you could see not stacking that necessarily. But other than that, I think you should pretty much stack stuff. And those are some just little ideas there. That's all I got.